Hello, everybody. Haven't really been making any videos. I have one planned, but I have to wait for a specific day before I can get it out. So I want to do a quick rant because of some stuff happening a lot on YouTube videos. You know, I like to watch videos, but I also like to see what people are saying, what people are arguing about. And I don't know why, but atheism is like really under the magnifying glass right now, and I have no idea why. I don't know what's making it so popular amongst YouTube users. There's a lot of war between theists and atheists, and I think that both sides are ignorant to each when it comes to their decision to worship a god or to not believe in a god. And I'm going to try to shed some light on both sides of the equation. I mean, I know religious people that believe in the Bible, and I myself am an atheist. And it's pretty simple for me to explain why I'm not an atheist, and it's pretty simple for them to explain why they believe in a God. However, it's difficult for me to understand why they believe in a God, and it's more difficult for them to understand why I don't. For some reason, both sides view the other as arrogant, which is odd because the reasoning makes sense, but it isn't right. Neither side is right. I think that there's a middle ground that has to be explained. For the most part, humanity has a very black and white view on reality, on each other. We don't have a lot of gray areas, and that's unfortunate because it really bleeds into a lot of the culture, and it makes people really easy to manipulate. It makes people really irate. It makes people really difficult to socialize with. It makes people really insufferable in a lot of ways. I'm not going to lie. I personally try to keep an open mind, but at the same time, I am a comedian. I like to get rises out of people. It's funny to me. It's entertaining to me. I don't want to be people's enemy, but it's a lot more fun to make somebody angry than to make somebody happy. Because when someone's happy, like that's it. When they're angry, they come back for more. It's amazing. But I digress. A lot of people that are theists have a very strict belief as to why people are atheist. A lot of them like to think that, if they're really religious, they like to say that atheists are trying to become God. They don't consider God a God because they want to be God. There are other theists that are a little more open-minded, not by a lot, unfortunately, but I've seen some theists that actually that are saying that religious nuts like the people that do the God hates fags thing, I don't even know their names, religious nuts like them, the fanatics, stuff like that, are what push people away from God, part of a fear factor kind of thing, where we don't want to be like them. We're afraid of what it could do to people and the kind of things that fanatics have done. And it's still too simple of a solution to the problem. You know, I personally like to think that a rational, free-thinking, intelligent, and second-guessing. Like, they're not someone who just makes an opinion and that's it. They're always second-guessing themselves. They're second-guessing everyone else. They want to ask questions. They want to know the truth. They want to know it completely. They want to understand. People like that. Now, not everybody's like that. I'm like that. But not everybody's like that. And I wish that more people were, because then it would be so much easier to understand why people make the decisions that they make, because they'd be constantly questioning each other. Religion would have a different presence in the world. It probably would be lesser of a powerful presence. There probably would still be religion, but it wouldn't be as dangerous as it is with these people that do not ask questions. They do not second guess. They believe and that's it. They don't believe and that's it. And that's what that's where this fanaticism begins, because when you only believe one thing and everyone around you believes one thing, it starts to compile on itself. It's kind of like a snowball effect. If there's just snow and you keep rolling this little snowball, it's going to keep getting bigger until there's no more snow. But if you constantly surround yourself with people that just keep throwing snow on the ground, then the ball's going to keep growing and growing and growing, and eventually it's going to hurt somebody or break something. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. You have to have people that maybe throw some salt in the way, and then it makes the ball smaller. But you're going to keep rolling it because you want to keep the ball rolling, or you're dead, because that's the only way that you would be able to stop the ball of life, snowball of life, from rolling, is to kill the person rolling it, which is you. You're rolling your little snowball, you know. It's metaphor. Please don't question me as to why you do not roll a snowball 24/7, because this is a metaphor. Snowball is your life. You are pushing the snowball, because while you're alive, you're able to push the snowball. It's pretty simple, I would think. Just going to explain it because there are people out there that won't understand. But, you know, with this snowball, you got people throwing salt in the way, you got people putting snow there, and you got people putting salt. People asking you questions, trying to get rational responses out of you, trying to get you to think. When you're thinking, that's the salt. It makes the snowball smaller, so you have to slow down a little bit. And then you start to understand, and then there's some snow in the way. And then you start building up the beliefs again, and then you're just like, whoo, hoo, hoo. And then there's more salt, and then it gets a little bit smaller. It keeps you controlled so that you're not hurting anyone, but you're still making progress. You know, you're still going forward with this snowball. You're just not making this giant fucking thing that's hurting people. It's really distracting for others, and it's just all around bad to have this giant fucking snowball. Plus, it gets very hard to move forward when it gets really big, which is why a lot of these people tend to be stuck in a bit of a rut when they start to get really ridiculous with their beliefs, be it religious or even just personal beliefs. You'll notice that people that are really absorbed in it, that's when they're getting their snowball to a point where it's really hard to move. They're moving it, but not very far. And then eventually it won't move at all. Then it gets stuck. It's like those people that do the God hates figs thing, or fags or whatever. That's when it's stuck. It's not going to move. It's too big. So they have to stay there. They're stuck in that one way of living, that one way of thinking. That was their last thing. Nobody is throwing salt on it because they won't let them. Nobody is able to break through and try to help, you know, maybe free up their mind a little bit. And it's half because of their beliefs, and it's mostly because of how secluded they are. And it's really part of how the guy who controls them, I don't know their names. I don't know any of their names. That's how he keeps them under such strict control. That's why they're so difficult to reason with. There's no outside source of socialization at all. In fact, socialization isn't a word, but I'm going to say it because I have to make up words, because there's no way to describe these people with regular words. So bear with me. But socializing, which is what I was trying to say, there's no socializing at all. He uses that to his advantage. If you look at some documentaries, there was one where this guy from the BBC went in, and I was watching it, you know, because I find people like that very interesting. I find a lot of weird things very interesting. I like to study them. I want to understand them. I want to know what makes them tick. So I was watching this documentary of them, and he would constantly try to bring up, you know, do you have any friends at school? And it's very interesting how they perceive friendship and stuff like that. When he mentions friends, they say, well, we have friendly acquaintances. But the rest of the time, they just say everybody hates us. Everybody hates us. Everybody hates this. Everybody hates me. Everybody hates her. Everybody hates you. And they almost are blind to any kind of kindness. Even this guy that was coming in and he was studying them and he was trying to talk to them about things, they always just assume hatred out of everybody because that's what they feel from their teachings. Their teachings are God's hate. It's the hatred of God in their mind, the wrath, you know. They're the balls of God. And God's got the balls, and there they are. They're this little fucking plane. Yeah. But because of that, I think that it proves that there's a lot of strength in getting people to believe that there is no hope for them. A lot of the younger members of this organization whenever they talk about marriage and stuff like that, I remember a recording in there that really sticks out in my mind. They made a recording of the girls talking amongst themselves. They mentioned things like, who's going to marry me? And that speaks to me at a certain level. And, even though they're right, I really want to think that it's not their fault. I'm not going to blame these younger people that were raised by these people that are filled with hate that are much older than them. Their parents, the founders, etc., that are preaching hatred to them and stuff like that. And the kids think that's just the way it is. And I almost feel like they blame themselves, like they're taking a lot of this hatred towards not them, the organization. They think that it's towards them. They think that everybody hates them. And because they hate them, they're doing the right thing, and that's what their parents are doing to counterbalance the reverse psychology, blah, 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 cult behavior, blah, blah, blah. But he is in this journalist, was very subtle. And I liked that about how he was conducting himself, which is why he was able to stay, I'm sure. He was very subtle with the message he was trying to get out. And I don't know if even people that were watching it really understood what he was trying to show people. It goes beyond them being a little crazy. I think that these kids are normal kids. He even shows little kids that are like 7, 4, that are out there at the protests. They don't know anything about what anything is. They're just there because they want to be with mommy and daddy. They want to be with their brothers and sisters. That's socializing to them. They're not there they don't know what their religion means. And he proved it by asking them questions. He had the chick that is always there ask them about stuff, and they wouldn't answer correctly until they were kind of spoon-fed what it was, because they don't think about that. Little kids don't think about that. Nobody thinks about that. And that also stood out to me, because it's really sad how she has to force this kind of stuff down these kids' throats, and then they grow up to be like the teenage girls that are there. He didn't really talk to any of the guys that were there. That's one thing that was weird to me. Why didn't he want any of the males' opinions? But at the same time, the girls that he talked to were their message that they were giving out was very powerful, in opposition to what they were probably trying to do, and they were trying to reinforce their beliefs, and they were trying to justify themselves. But really, it was going against them. They are the strongest spokespersons against their beliefs, and they don't even realize this, of course, which is what the reporter guy was exploiting. Of course, all the adults there are beyond any reason, but you can almost see the depression in all of their faces whenever he brings up anything about friends, marriage, anything like that. There's always this little bit before they put on the smile, and you can see the feeling, the emotion leave their eyes. It's just this fake mask that they put on. It's almost disturbing, actually. But it really makes me personally sad. Sad for them because of what they're being robbed of. It's the same thing that their parents are robbed of by the person that they call Gramps, who's the main dude of that thing. And he robbed them of that. They robbed their kids of it, and they're going to rob their kids of it until it's stopped. And it's not going to be stopped because people don't know how to stop it. But that just explains them. An atheist being atheist. That was a huge tangent, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. Huge tangent, but I wanted to go there because I want to try to get you guys at the same level of thinking as me before I try to explain why I am atheist. But I believe, and this was through a lot of questioning. I've asked a lot of people a lot of questions. This is not something that I just formulated overnight. This is not something that I formulated before pressing the record button. This is well thought out. It's maybe 2 to 3 years of questioning. Just questioning, which I'm just talking about the time it took to ask the questions, which is probably spanning over way more than 2 years, but it's 2 years worth of information that I got through asking questions about myself, to myself, about others, and to others, etc. Watching things and trying to study how people think. And I believe that the reason why I became an atheist, and why I believe that a lot of others become atheists if they have a free-thinking mind, etc., like I said way earlier in the video. The reason why they do that is because people need more. When you look at how entertainment is, when you look at how rapid-fire everything is, and the disease of ADHD, ADD, stuff like that, people's minds are not simple. You know, it's, even though corporations think that we're simple, even though religious people think that we're simple, and they themselves, they think that they are simple as well. It's a view on reality when you think about everything the way that I do and others that share my mind process. The way how reality works to us is way different than the way how an average religious person or someone who believes that gay is a choice, or even people that believe that you're born gay. It's so much more complicated than any of that. But the world is so black and white to those people. There's no questions that they're asking that bring out these gray areas where you get to think about it and make your own fucking decisions. You don't have to look at a book to get your decision. You don't even have to get an answer to a question. That might not even be the answer that you're looking for. The real answer comes from when you think on it. You gotta keep asking questions until you develop an understanding, and that understanding is your answer. Because that's really all you could really hope for in today's world. There are no answers. There used to be answers, then those answers are proven wrong. Because the more you understand something, the more you know about it. So a good understanding where you feel confident about your knowledge is where you want to be. Not a, well, the answer is no. That's not right. That's not the correct way. But that's what we're taught, you know. Fill in the blank, there's only one answer. A, B, C, D, there's only one answer. These open-ended questions, though, there's multiple ways to state one answer, you know? There's no conceptual questions, because that's not the way we're taught to think. We're supposed to think there's one right way to do things, and that's it. And as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of right ways to do the same thing. That's why so many different people can work on one project. They all have different ways that are the correct approach to get one result. Look at how many people used to work for NASA. I don't know if NASA's still around. I think our space program is canceled, but I don't even know. It's all conjecture. I don't really look up too much on the news anymore because the news doesn't really give me enough information for me to really be confident in what they're saying. So I'm sure that somebody knows about it, but I know that there's trouble with NASA, but I'm going to use them as an example. Look at how much stuff NASA has done. We're going to use the term stuff. And they have done all of these wonderful things. Put people on the moon. We've discovered things in space. Study of stars, study of planets. Looking for life on other planets. Trying to find more in our universe. Look at all of these people that work there. Just think about it. How could all of these people come up with one answer? They can't. There are tons of different answers to one question. And when you combine these answers together to one effort, you get a man on the moon. You get a space station in space, and you get people to and from that space station. You get, oh, there's a comet over there, and we're going to tell exactly where it's going using this mathematic formula. And then one person there says, well, what if we do this? And it gets a better result. And then they have a new kind of formula. They have a new device. You know, there's all these inventors. I mean, just look at inventing. You could take something as simple as a butterfly knife and attach a bottle opener to it, and suddenly you've answered a different problem. Now you have a flashy way to open up bottles instead of a flashy way to open up a knife or stab somebody. Which is odd. But we're not talking about butterfly knives. We're talking about the complexity of the human mind. People have been studying the human mind forever. I'm pretty sure that from the moment we could write stuff down, people were writing down questions that they had about how the mind works, because the human mind is a very fascinating thing if you decide to dedicate enough thought to it to wonder if you could even understand it because of how deep it goes. It's almost as infinite as the universe, but there are points where it stops, and those points are up to you, the person that contains your mind. Are you going to censor yourself? Are you going to limit yourself to certain ways of thinking? Or are you going to try to expand by asking questions, by thinking about things that maybe other people don't want to think about, by asking the questions that people don't want to be asked, and trying to get the answers that you might not want to hear. But at the same time, it opens up your mind. You get to think about this, you get to think about that. I like that kind of existence. Yes, it's very combative. Yes, people feel alienated because you seem to be asking them questions that make them question their faith, that make them question their beliefs. But I question my beliefs too. That's why I'm asking you the questions. Even as an atheist, I don't feel 100% behind it. I'm constantly looking for more answers about this whole God thing. Why did we believe in a God for so long? Why is it only recently that atheism isn't a crime? Why has religion lost so much power if it's so right? You know what I mean? Even our government, I have tons of questions surrounding our government and where our country is going to go. My beliefs are very negative, unfortunately, of where our country is headed, dependent on the next president, of course. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to go to the second half of my talk. Why do people believe in a God? It's a very hard question for even someone who believes in a God to answer. Many of them say that they do it because they want to feel hope. They don't want to look at death as the end. They want something more, and it's like a grandeur to death, and it makes death easier to accept. It makes the death of a family member so much easier to accept. It's kind of a how I deal with reality kind of thing, and I can accept that. I think that that's perfectly rational. What I don't understand are people that believe in a God that use this belief to interact with others. And some of you know what I mean, some of you don't. I think that the only way I could really explain it is, let's say that instead of pulling from past experience to deal with situations, you pull from the Bible. And there are people that do that. Lots of religious people do that. Lots of them. And it isn't good. Some of them don't even realize that they're doing it. They try to rationalize situations using the Bible. They try to use religious thought, which is a different kind of thought process, to rationalize reality. I can't even believe some of the things that wonderful people that are religious have said about themselves. Forget about others. Everything that people do to others in the sake of religion is already out there. You can look up any kind of crime, murder, serial murder, rape, you name it. It's all been done for the sake of religion, because that's just how religion works. It's how it's interpreted. That is the danger of religion, that it's free to interpretation and people can twist it to do whatever the hell they want, and now they have an excuse because of religion. Or they don't have to feel remorse because of religion. There are religions that'll forgive you for anything. That's just what it's written. The God that they believe in is willing to accept anything and anyone, regardless of what they did, which allows them to live with their terrible crime, which I believe shouldn't happen. I believe that these people should not be given an escape for what they did, especially if they're a serial murderer that was preying on innocent people. And all of them are. There's no serial murderer that kills criminals unless they're already in jail. And even then, they're people that had to live with the reality of what they are. And when you kill someone that feels remorse, that feels bad, and has to live with the realization of who they are, what they've done, and who they hurt, you're taking that suffering away from them when they're dead. But that's just a personal thing. We're not going to get too far into it. Don't care whether people agree with me or not, because so far I can't find anything wrong with believing that you needed to deal with the consequences of what you do. It's kind of like integrity. But people as a whole, I believe in their gods and stuff like that. Because of outside sources. Because of... It's just easy. Just as easy as it is to say that there isn't a God. You know what I mean? It serves both sides. It's a double-edged sword. And it is easy to do either one or the other. It's also easy to say, I don't know if there's a God, and be agnostic. It's just easy. And I think that the worst thing that religion does to people, especially if they're like referencing the Bible and everything, and God is the cause of everything, and they don't believe in fate, they just believe that God decided for this to happen, is people that are immensely talented, people that have amazing gifts that they share with the world, they literally believe that they are nothing, that they have no special talent, they are nobody and nothing. The only reason why they do what they do is because God lets them, because God gave them that. And that's one of the main things that has pushed me away from religion so much. I don't want to lose my feelings of self-worth. I don't want to lose pride in my accomplishments. I want to be able to appreciate what I've done. I want to appreciate my legacy. I want to feel proud of what I've done, what I've given to the world, what the world thinks of me, proud of thoughts that are worthy of pride. But religious people that have fallen victim to that mindset, I don't know what it's like to live like that. It's so empty to go out there and do something that you're really good at, that you're really passionate about, but in the end of the day, you don't believe that it's you. You don't believe that that was you doing that. You just believe God, was like, hey, let's sing today, and then made you sing amazingly, made you hit every note, made you remember every word, made the crowd cheer in response. No, I don't believe that. I don't ever believe that. If that was true, I don't even want to think about what Britney Spears is then. Like, is she some kind of heaven-sent siren sent from the heavens to serenade us with her songs and dance? No. No religious person would think that, but if that's what your definition of talent is, then yes, God must be involved in the existence of Britney Spears and her career, in the existence of Madonna and her career, in the existence of every single rap star in their career, in the existence of every single atheist entertainer that's ever been successful and their career. I mean, isn't that a little weird? If God is responsible for all of our conscious thought and everything that happens to us, then why do nice things, really nice things, multiple million really nice things, happen to atheists? A little weird. People want to say, oh, it's just free will. So the free will explains why amazing things happen to people that don't believe in God. I don't see how that's an explanation for anything. It's just another, well, I can't explain it, so I'll just give you a one-word response. They can't go into detail, because the Bible doesn't even go into detail. The Bible's just, here's what it is, and that's what it said, and here it is over here, and here's a pretty little picture of a rabbit humping a donkey. It's just, it's not enough. I think that's really what it comes down to. Religion is not enough. I need more. And being an atheist gives me the opportunity to get more. There's no church that's going to answer your questions with answers. They're going to quote scripture. They're going to blanket everything. They're going to get a big blanket answer. I can get specific answers for what I want because I'm an atheist. I don't have any interest in your scripture. Give me an answer. Anything. Just tell me something specific. And if you can't answer it specifically, then I have to ask you a different question. I'll have to ask somebody else. There are so many questions that atheists can't answer, that theists, they have no idea how to answer, that agnostics don't want to answer, that people that believe in anything cannot answer. And those questions are what fuel my curiosity. And it's not going to stop. I'm always going to be someone who loves to ask questions and get answers. Someone who always wants to think. And that's another thing that I think is a boundary between me and religion. Religion doesn't teach you to think unless it's about that religion. And I don't want to limit my thoughts. I want to think about everything. I want to think about thinking. I have questions about the thought process. Am I thinking about the right things? Is my approach to thinking correct? There's lots of questions that I have. Lots of answers that I have to filter through to find the answer that explains something that helps me understand it better. In the end of the day, reality is perception. That's a pretty generally accepted fact. All of reality, everything I know and everything you know, is what we perceive it to be. Nothing more, nothing less. That isn't written in a Bible anywhere. I don't even think that it's really written in any textbooks anywhere, but I don't see how that could be wrong. What else could reality be? And because reality is perception, is there really ever a correct answer? Is there ever really a right way? Is there ever really a wrong way? It really just boils down to what people generally accept. And because of that, it's always changing. So you have to be able to change with the world. Some people call it evolution. Some people call it blasphemy. And I'll leave you with that.